during these times when we preach peace as the elections are approaching. Moving on, the national debt debate is yet again resurfacing after the National Assembly approved a proposal to increase Kenya's debt ceiling to 10 trillion shillings, barely 2 years after they increased it to 9 trillion. According to the chairperson of the National Assembly Committee on Delegated Legislation, the new figure is a compromise after it emerged that the country was just 400 billion shillings shy from the 9 trillion shilling ceiling set less than 2 years ago. Cecilia Lubanga now explains what this decision means for both the next government and the common person.
Members of Parliament on Tuesday increased the public debt ceiling to 10 trillion as a stopgap measure that will allow the next government to borrow 846 billion more in order to inject into the budget deficit of the coming financial year that starts in July. The debt ceiling was initially capped at 9 trillion after the National House agreed to the Treasury's proposal to have the law requiring debt to be set at 50% of the gross domestic product scrapped. Majority Leader Amos Kimunya argues that the next government will be in a tight spot to finance the 2022-2023 budget if the public debt is capped at 50%, hence the need to increase it to 55% of the GDP. So why is Kenya increasing its debt ceiling yet again?
They have increased it to 10 trillion. And the reason they're doing that is they have to comply with the law. For them to borrow more, the limit has to go up. Otherwise, they would be in breach of the law while borrowing. That is put plainly. Our national budget is about 3 trillion, give or take. Because right now, because of the model we are pursuing, we have to borrow.
This recent debt adjustment comes on the back of Kenya Revenue Authority surpassing its revenue targets for the first half of the financial year 2021-2022 after collecting 976.6 billion against a target of 929.1 billion, attributed to improving economic performance after a tough COVID-19 pandemic season, a factor that prompted Treasury to increase the targets for the taxman for the current financial year. With the Treasury looking to get a green light from the Senate to enter the market for another loan to fill the 846 billion deficit in the 2022-2023 budget, this move couldn't come at a worse time as heightened global inflation has prompted the international leaders to increase interest rates to counter the effect of the Russia-Ukraine crisis. What is the expected impact of this increase?
For us to pay, we must have those dollars in the first place. So we either have remittances from diaspora or we export enough to be clear. And I'm telling you, the bill is about 1.2 trillion a year in Kenya shillings. The falling shilling against the dollar, it has the impact of increasing our debt without us borrowing more. So those are some things that are working against us. In terms of the debt service, the solution has always been and will always be, we need to restructure those debts so that they have better terms, that we pay less per year, because Kenya is a sovereign nation and is a body corporate. So there's no hurry to pay those debts. We can pay them even of 100 years. The solution will eventually come down to, can we reduce the debt repayment from 1.2 trillion to maybe 500 or 400 billion, so that we pay less per year, so that we have more money to do other things.
Despite 55% being in line with international standards for a lower middle-income economy such as Kenya, whether the allowance to borrow more will be injected into the Envision project is still a subject of debate. Cecilia Lubanga, Look Up TV.